All right, so last video was on overcoming challenges. And one of the best ways to overcome a challenge is going to be to avoid them to begin with. And you can't avoid all challenges, of course, but you can avoid a vast majority of challenges that pop up by being highly organized. So, for example, if you onboard a client for your lead generation agency or anything really, any kind of business you have, and you don't know where you put their lead lists, you don't know where the passwords are to all their accounts, if you set them up manually, you don't know where the agreement is, the contract, you don't know what your logins are to all the different apps and tools that you use in your line of business. It's not going to be a big deal with one customer, right? You can just muddle through it, no big deal. You can make $5,000 a month, no big deal. But if you want to compound that to 2, 3, 4, 5 customers a month, or making $50,000 a month, and you have a process that for one customer takes you most of the morning to complete, you're not going to be able to scale up to 6 customers. There's no way. It's not possible. So if you start right now, you're going to have a much more streamlined process of scaling. And that goes for anything in life, right? If you just live by yourself and you don't wash your dishes, right? You don't pay your bills on time, it's not a big deal because you can recoup. You can wash dishes at the end of the day. You can pay your bills a little bit late. It's not that big a deal. It doesn't take that much time. You get married, a little more complex, twice as much dishes. You have 3 kids like I do, it suddenly becomes a big deal. And if you don't stay on top of the dishes multiple times per day, the dishes will pile up. You'll get cockroaches. You know, speaking from experience, man, it's not a good thing to be unorganized. An unorganized business and an unorganized life will result in a lot of challenges. If you want to avoid those challenges, you want to be highly organized. So how do you get organized? You start with the end and you work backwards. So what is your goal? Okay, so your goal in business, it doesn't have to be your final goal. It doesn't have to be your 5-year, 10-year, 15-year lifelong career goal. It can just be your next 6 months. You can say, okay, in the next 6 months, I want to have 4 more customers making $30,000 a month, and you work backwards from there. So what do I need to do? What do I need to do that? So I need to get a bunch of leads. I need to look at my statistics on my metrics on my current campaigns. I need to kind of try to estimate how fast I'm going to be able to progress in my skill level and different industries I might need to start learning about, different techniques I'm going to need to start learning. And so if you figure out, okay, in order, by the time you boil it all down, in order to get 4 more clients, I'm going to have to get better at copy. I'm going to have to get better at using the tools that I use. I'm going to have to get better at like lead scraping and Smart Lead and whatever you use instantly. You find out you need to do 30 different things in order to get to that goal. So now you know, okay, I've got 30 different things. I've got 24 hours in the day. Okay, what else in your life do you want to be progressing in? Okay, so I want to gain 20 pounds in the next year. And so I know what I need to do for that. I need to eat a certain amount per day. I need to work out a certain amount of times per week. And so now I know how much time it's going to take, what I need to do, how much money I need to spend on food, all that kind of stuff. So you just basically start with what you need and boil it down to as much data as you can possibly get. And then I know who I want to be as a person to my family. And I know how often I want to play with my kids, what I want to teach them, how often I want to spend time with my wife, how often we want to go on dates, all that kind of stuff. I know all the data. And you start scheduling that stuff out in your life. You can't go 15 minute by 15 minute because there are challenges that will arise despite your organization. And so you need to have built-in time buffers, but when you plan all of that out, for one, this is something a lot of people won't tell you because they don't really put their finger on it. The reason that will keep you from going through major challenges is because your mental space is so clear, because you know what you're doing, you have it on paper, you have whiteboard, app, whatever, you know what you're doing next, and you just execute. You've broken it down into simple steps. Instead of this big, I want to make $30,000 a month, how the heck am I going to do that? You know what you need to do every single day so that in 6 months you have a high likelihood of getting there. If you want to have a better relationship with your spouse or your friend, you know what you need to do in the next 6 months to get there. And if you know that you're executing on that day after day, you're rarely failing, your mental space is going to be very healthy. And any challenge that does come up, your mind's not going to be cluttered. It's going to be clear, sharp, crisp, confident. And it's going to be able to tackle that challenge way easier than if everything is disorganized and muddy, right? So that's going to be it for this video. There's more organization stuff, practical tips, tools you can use. But for now, just wanted to go lay the foundation of why you should be organized, some benefits of it. And I'm about to get home, so I got to end this video sometime, right? So I'll hit you all up later, and I will, start working on organizing the next video so it's not just a muddled mess. Deuces.